My personal conclusion is that Goulart's and Brzola's recent actions on agrarian land reform will lead Brazil to a communist government control similar as Fidel Castro in Cuba. Lincoln Gordon, U.S. Ambassador. Goulart has made verbal blows to green and yellow nationalism. Leonel Brzola, governor of Rio Grande do Sul, expropriated 2 American companies, ITT and American Foreign Power Company. Such actions are a threat to U.S. economic interests and are regarded by us as totally unacceptable.
It is clear that the forces of communism are not to be underestimated in Cuba or anywhere else in the world. For I am convinced that we in this country and in the free world possess the necessary resources and the skill and the added strength that comes from a belief in the freedom of man, that I am determined upon our system's survival and success, regardless of the cost and regardless of the peril.
Goulart's communist attitudes represent a growing danger. I believe it to be an appropriate time for an official United States government invitation, including visit to Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska.
Estudos efetuados pelo ITES revelaram a necessidade de reformas estruturais imediatas. Aonde nos levarão as crises, o descalabro administrativo, a desordem.
Propague a sua verdade de maneira racional e bem orientada. Leve à compreensão do homem, do povo, o valor da sua empresa para a comunidade brasileira.
The main thing is, at the same time, to organize forces which work with the right military to use reduce power.
Havia um certo grupo de militares no Nordeste, um certo grupo de militares em Minas Gerais, outro no Rio de Janeiro, ilhas de conspiração pelo Brasil afora.
So it was under the Kennedy administration that the CIA first started to expand its operations in Sao Paulo and other parts of the country. Gordon himself, he was more CIA than CIA. I mean, he was pushing for all sorts of intervention. Gordon wasn't alone. The Kennedy administration was filled with Cold War liberals, hawks. The United States had a very special agent stationed in Rio de Janeiro, the Lieutenant General Vernon Walters. Vernon Walters was one of those legendary covert operatives. He was first a military officer. He eventually became deputy CIA director. He dealt with a lot of the most repressive figures in all of Latin America.
And his mission was basically to organize the conspiracy by bringing together the different dissident groups within the army which were interested in doing something to stop or to overthrow the Goulart government. And so he went patiently from one person to the next, meeting with different colonels and generals, assuring them that the United States would support the military if it were to take power.
General Vernon Walters obviously did reports on all of the Brazilian military figures he was dealing with. He certainly told his superiors, not only in the U.S. military, but also in the State Department and the White House, who he thought was the most pro-U.S., the most professional, the most likely to be an efficient and strong post-coup leader. It looked like Kennedy was still well down the road towards a greater hostile policy towards Brazil at the moment that he was assassinated. Lyndon Johnson simply picked up from where Kennedy left off.
The American nation cannot, must not, and will not permit the establishment of another communist government in the Western Hemisphere.
Com o alto testemunho da nação, com a solidariedade do povo, o governo, que é também o povo, reafirma seus propósitos inabaláveis de lutar com todas as suas forças, não apenas pela reforma agrária, mas pela reforma tributária, pela reforma eleitoral ampla, pelo voto do analfabeto, pela emancipação econômica, pela justiça social e ao lado do povo, pelo progresso do Brasil.
Tudo a propósito das reformas de base, no peito e na marra, de qualquer jeito. O que eles queriam? Seguir o regime soviético?
Estejam tranquilos que dentro em breve esse decreto será uma realidade.
João Goulart is accepting the active collaboration of the Brazilian Communist Party and of other radical left revolutionaries as Syndicalist Union CGT. Heading the Reformas de Base is Goulart's leader of the Labour Party, Deputy Bocaiúva Cunha.
Are you willing to accept communist support?
If they want to give us public support in the reforms we need for Brazil, then we are.
Don't you think there is some danger of the Communist Party taking over your program?
Oh, absolutely. Communist Party in Brazil is nothing, you see. It only exists in the proportion of the stupidity, of the blindness of the elite who doesn't want to see that they can't not maintain in such a big and powerful country their privilege and their
positions without giving to the people, to the masses of the people, their minimum needs.
Here, Brazil, heavily infiltrated or controlled by the communists, erected through a Goulart-Brizola manipulation.
It looks like Goulart may take them into a communist regime.
Trabalhadores do campo já poderão então ter pedaço de terra fácil para ele trabalhar, pedaço de terra para ele cultivar.
Eu não tive dúvida que a coisa ia acabar mal.
1 milhão de pessoas saiu à rua para dar graças a Deus pela derrota do comunismo na Marcha da Família com Deus pela Liberdade.
Confidential. General Castelo Branco, Army Chief of Staff, is a highly competent, respected officer, devoted Catholic, and admires United States' role as defender of freedom. Military Attaché Vernon Walters.
There's no doubt from the declassified documents that Castelo Branco was the anointed U.S. pick to lead the military regime that would follow Goulart. And this is the thing that the CIA and the U.S. government used to do in countries like Brazil. They would look for the military officers that they liked or they could talk to who seemed pro-U.S. They had dossiers on everybody and thought about who the most prominent plotters would be. Gordon says to Washington, you know, a whole fleet of ships to be stationed off the coast of Brazil to help with the coup. And they write back and they say, we don't understand how we could send a fleet of ships off the coast of Brazil and have that be a covert operation. They're thinking this is supposed to be covert. And he writes back and he says, it's not supposed to be covert, it's supposed to be overt, it's supposed to be open, it's supposed to be a threat to Goulart and his supporters so that they psychologically feel threatened and the coup plotters feel bolstered and supported. And that's what it's for.
Hello?
Mr. President, this is George Ball.
Yes, George.
We had a meeting this morning with Max Taylor, and we decided on the basis of the information that had come in this morning to go ahead and start a naval task force out, but with no commitment.
I think we ought to take every step that we can, be prepared to do everything that we need to do. I'd get right on top of it and stick my neck out a little.
I would like to indicate that I've asked Bob McNamara to get some tankers ready for some DOL supplies, things of that sort.
From Department of State to Ambassador Gordon. The following decisions have been taken in order to render assistance to anti-Goulart forces. Immediate dispatch of naval task force for covert exercises off Brazil. Dispatch of U.S. Navy tankers from Aruba. In Puerto Rico, assemble shipment of 110 tons of ammunition, light equipment, and tear gas for mob control. U.S. Sink South Naval Task Force to consist of aircraft carrier, 4 destroyers, 2 destroyer escorts, and task force tankers. Initial destination is Santos. CIA, top secret, eyes only. Goulart must be removed in a hurry. São Paulo and Minas Gerais governors have definitely reached accord. The trigger is a military uprising led by General Mourão Filho. Troops will march towards Rio de Janeiro.
Vamos sair hoje, às 4 horas da manhã. Saíram pela estrada que vinha de Juiz de Fora, com destino ao Rio de Janeiro, disposto a morrer.
Every disposition here is to be ready to support those elements who would move to prevent Brazil from falling under an authentic dictatorship of the left, heavily infiltrated or controlled by the communists.
For the first time, Brazilian plotters asked whether American Navy can reach southern Brazilian coast fast.
A Operação Brother Sun e todo esse delineamento estratégico foram muito importantes para dar segurança àquelas pessoas que perpetraram o golpe. Segurança no sentido de tomarem uma decisão, de fazerem efetivamente a movimentação militar e derrubar João Goulart do poder.
O Castelo Branco achava que o Mourão se precipitou. E o Mourão disse a ele, Castelo Branco, você é um medroso, é um... Vieram vindo, mas nunca aconteceu nada. E o Mourão chegou, se instalou e foi entregar a revolução ao Costa e Silva, que estava dormindo e de cueca.
Porto Alegre, João Goulart fugiu para o Uruguai, seguido de Leonel Brizola e outros elementos do governo deposto.
E as Forças Armadas, elas próprias, mais do que ameaçadas, foram chamadas, praticamente intimadas, a cumprir a missão que o momento lhes impunha, restabelecendo a ordem e livrando o país dos trapos vermelhos que ameaçavam sufocá-lo.
We know from the declassified documents is that Lyndon Johnson, the President of the United States, was willing to implement a contingency plan for an overt invasion of Brazil to help the coup succeed. In the end, the coup succeeded so quickly that the U.S. military forces never were needed to help regime change directly. But had the fighting dragged on, we might well have seen an overt policy, an overt intervention from the United States.
Confidential, priority. I am mostly pleased to say that the elimination of Goulart represents a great victory for the free world. Rio de Janeiro has been taken by a democratic rally with crowds surpassing those of the carnival season. Leftist and communist elements are being arrested under the national security law. Lincoln Gordon.
Did you advise President Johnson to recognize the new Brazilian government as quickly as he did?
Of course.
In connection specifically with the rapidity with which it was recognized?
Yes. The action that was taken by President Johnson was in response to a specific recommendation we made on Thursday afternoon, late Thursday afternoon, April 2nd. But obviously it was taken only after the recommendation was considered by his own advisors in Washington.
A nação toda já está bastante alertada sobre as forças que agora estão tentando subverter o regime democrático, à luz do qual temos feito a evolução pacífica e cristã de nossa pátria. Fiel aos princípios legalistas que imprimo a todas as minhas diretrizes, agirei com a máxima energia contra os sublevados, alertando-os antes, para que não se deixem enganar por falsos defensores da democracia que os estão conduzindo para uma verdadeira luta entre irmãos.
O presidente João Goulart ainda estava no Rio de Janeiro, tentando construir uma resistência. No início da tarde, trabalhadores e estudantes começaram uma mobilização em frente ao Teatro Nacional de Brasília.
Mais ou menos estudantes e operários, uns 10 mil, esperando, porque havia promessa que o Darcy Ribeiro, que era o chefe do gabinete civil, o general Fico, que era o comandante daqui, iria entregar armas para a população.
No fim do dia 1º de abril de 1964, Jango decidiu voltar para Brasília e se reuniu com comandos militares que ele acreditava ainda serem fiéis ao seu governo. Diante da impossibilidade de resistir ao golpe, Jango partiu para o Rio Grande do Sul.